A dark night in a city that knows how to keep its secrets. But one man is still trying to find the answers to life's persistent questions. Guy Noir, Private Eye.
It was starting to feel like summer in St. Paul, and then suddenly it was feeling like November, and I had to dig around in the closet for my sweater and my windbreaker, and then by pure chance, the phone rang, and it was a man from Georgia.
Well, this is Congressman Birdwhistle from Georgia, Mr. Noir. I have an opponent in the primary, another Republican by the name of Buford Burford, and he accuses me of being part of the Washington establishment, and he is running a mean, low-down campaign. I'm about to get my fanny kicked. I need your help.
Well, I could see a cold front moving in from North Dakota, and suddenly the idea of going to Georgia seemed rather attractive. So I got myself a seat on a no-frills airline, Chattahoochee Air, nonstop to Atlanta.
Hello, I'm Wanda. I'll be your flight attendant today. Now, that smell you smell is nothing to worry about. It's just the smoker in the back where we're fixing 100 pounds of ribs, which we'll be serving real soon. And speaking of smoking, the federal government has outlawed smoking on airplanes, but I did not. So go ahead if y'all want to. Okay, now back in the exit row, you will see 2 prize-winning Chester White Hogs. Now they belong to our pilot, Chuck Chasworth, so hands off. Okay.
Boom, boom. Howdy, this is Chuck, your pilot up here in the cockpit, with my first officer, Checkers. Say hello, Checkers. Good boy, put on your seatbelt. Checkers is the smartest co-pilot I ever had, and when I come back there to check on the barbecue, Checkers will keep things under control, so don't you worry about a thing. Okay, let's let her rip.
I got down to Georgia, and I checked into Mom's Motel in a little town called Cracker Corner, and there on the screen was a commercial for Buford Burford for Congress.
It's been 24 years that wishy-washy, moderate Peckerwood, Arnold Birdwhistle, has been living it up in Washington, D.C., hanging out with you-know-who. Look at this, people.
Like you, to my good friend, Congressman Birdwhistle of Georgia. Thank you very much.
Make your blood boil, doesn't it, huh? This fall, elect a real Republican, me.
Buford Burford for Congress, a man who means what he says.
I looked around and I found Congressman Birdwhistle at a cafe just down the street.
I'll tell you, I used to eat at a nice place in Atlanta, but now he's attacking me for being soft, so I got to eat greasy ribs and French fries. I hate the stuff.
So he's running that commercial of you with President Obama, huh?
Oh, and he's got worse than that, Mr. Noir.
Oh, really?
I was a member of a madrigal group in Washington. He's got a video of it.
Okay.
And he's got a video of me ordering escargot in French. That's going to kill me in my district.
And sure enough, a few days later came another vicious attack on TV.
Is Arnold Birdwhistle a Republican? Oh, he calls himself a Republican. But is that what you call a Republican? I don't think so.
Where the bee sucks, there suck I. In the cowslip I do lie. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la.
I may not be fa-la-laing, but I enforce the law. Always have, always will.
Why not elect an American, Buford Burford, for Congress?
I looked around for Mr. Birdwhistle's wife, and I found her, Bernice Birdwhistle. She was vacationing in Bermuda.
Oh, I loathe elections, Mr. Noir. I have to put on dumpy clothes and ride around in a pickup and drink that awful sweetened iced tea. I begged him to retire, but he wouldn't.
You don't sound like you're from Georgia, Mrs. Birdwhistle.
I've had voice lessons, that's why. Oh, and I'm Episcopalian.
Okay, sure.
Right.
If I can be blunt,
What?
ma'am, I mean, your voice may be a liability.
Listen, a Georgia congressman's wife never opens her mouth. She just smiles and makes her eyes twinkle.
Oh, I see.
He's just got to rip into the president and mention Benghazi and the horrors of health insurance. I mean, otherwise he's gonna have to find a job.
So I did some research. I checked into Mr. Buford Burford's past, and I talked to a couple of waitresses, and I dragged a $20 bill through a trailer park, and I found that the man had led an interesting life himself.
I dated Buford for a time, not knowing he was already married to 2 women. I mean, he was odd. He used to beg me to hit him with a rolled-up newspaper and make him beg for a biscuit. Yeah, and I found him once up a tree, in the tree, howling.
Up in a tree howling, huh? Did he have hair growing on his face and the palms of his hands?
Isn't that funny? Yes, he did, as a matter of fact.
The U.S. Constitution does not prevent werewolves from running for Congress, but the success rate of werewolves is rather slim. I mean, when you have to go around shaking hands, having hair growth on your palms is a liability. And zombies have been successful running for Congress, a few vampires too, but werewolves, no, not really. Congressman.
Yes, sir.
Yes, listen, I know you're worried, but take it from me. You're gonna beat this man. We're gonna schedule the first televised debate for a night with a full moon. You'll be just fine. I snuck around to Mr. Burford's office, and I found the video of the congressman ordering escargot in French.
Je voudrais un plat escargot, s'il vous plaît. Thank you.
And I took it out and I threw it into the Chattahoochee River. And that was the end of it. And I headed back to Minnesota, where the forecast was for gradual warming, and that was good enough for me.
This is Chuck Chatsworth up here in the cockpit with my co-pilot, attaboy. And our flight up to Minnesota will take us about 3 hours. And since we got 50 passengers aboard who just ate a big meal of barbecue and beans, we're gonna have us a good tailwind too. Let's go.
I sat next to a woman named Luann who'd never been to Minnesota before, and she was going to visit a new grandchild.
So is the snow melted up there yet?
In the middle of May? Well, I don't know. It depends on what you mean by melted, I guess.
I mean, will I see snow on the ground?
Oh, no more than a couple inches, no.
Well, a couple inches?
Well, a couple inches isn't a lot. I mean,
You know, we had a couple inches in Atlanta once. We about went crazy with fear.
Well, Minnesota, we don't even notice it until there's a couple of feet.
Oh, Lord of mercy!
He certainly is. That's the fact.
A dark night in a city that knows how to keep its secrets. But one man is still trying to find the answers to life's persistent questions. Guy Noir, Private Eye.
Kim Russell, Sue Scott, Mr. Fred Newman. Mr. Fred Newman playing characters of both genders, yes. Unique to him.